All right, my friends, welcome to episode 363 of Prof and Dev Play Games. Anthony's recording tonight, but I'm going to say this episode's called Nintendon't. We're going to talk about Nintendo. I'm Larry, the professor, and over there is Anthony, the dev. He makes games for a living. I play games not for a living. But I am part of a union for a living. And today we're talking about Nintendo being dumb about unions again. Maybe not just Nintendo, Aston Carter. We'll talk about that. We haven't talked about that since August, and we missed the resolution or a resolution to that story being published in October. And we're also going to talk about Smash Brothers a little bit and Nintendo being dumb. And then we'll talk about what we have been playing. So, first of all, how are you doing, Anthony?
I'm doing well. It's holiday time, lots of decorating. This is the weekend to get all ready for the holidays and Christmas, and so I got everything decorated. And we went to yesterday, so this will be Saturday. We went to a Living History Museum that we go to sometimes in Tacoma. It's called Fort Nisqually, and it's a recreation with some of the original buildings of a British fort in this area. The Hudson Bay Company fort. Okay. That was there for a long time until like the 1830s, and so there was it. It's weird at that time when it's like history's weird around this stuff. So it's not like the British own anything, but it's just the fort was controlled by the Hudson Bay Company, which you've all heard about. But of course, it's in the U.S. and the territories of up here at the time. But we went there, and every year they do a Christmas regale, and a bunch of volunteers show up, and they do kind of reenactments of what like Christmas and holiday festivities were back then. So they like drag in the Yule log. The kids all help with that, and then they cut the Yule log, and everyone can take some of it home who wants some to burn on like Christmas morning, Yule. And got to watch some blacksmithing. I got to roast some coffee beans.
Oh dang!
Yeah.
Oh well, shit.
Yeah, over on a cast iron pan over a fire, and it worked out. I think I roasted them nicely. I'll find out. I think tomorrow I can serve it up, try it, and see how I did. I think I got a good
let it sit for a bit.
Yeah, just for a bit. Medium roast, but yeah, it was fun. It took a while. But I sat there and just kind of tended my beans over this fire for a little bit. Just got like a cup of green coffee beans. Just roast them up. That was fun.
And when you roast them, does some sort of like shell come off or some sort of skin come off?
Yeah,
or they just
totally. There was whenever you have the beans, the green, they of course always the fruit's already been washed off of them at that point, because they're basically like coffee bean is the like pit of like a berry. I highly do not recommend eating any of that berry. I've tried that at one point in my life. It's not good.
Bitter.
It is it's not a good flavor. But yeah, that was fun. The kids just had a good time. We spent most of our afternoon there just enjoying all the little festivities going on. It's not huge, but
that sounds like a lot of fun.
It is a good time. Like it's been a nice thing during the late pandemic where the fort opened back up, since it's all pretty much outdoors, that it's a fun thing to go do as a family, and feel generally safe about what we're doing.
Yeah, that's good.
So
especially now, things are spinning around out there.
Up here, yeah, we definitely have some. I mean, there's always COVID sometimes, but now we have pretty bad flu season up here, and we have RSV.
Yeah, us too. We have both.
Yeah, and we're like, cool, we're just going to stay inside again.
My daughter had, from school, my daughter had a RSV. We're fairly certain, and we're pretty sure she's the one that brought COVID home. We just can't figure out any other way that happened. That was the most likely scenario, even though it didn't do anything to her other than, she'd been, congested,
sick.
runny nose, perpetually sick. Yeah, and it, tested her like crazy, but nothing. So.
Yeah. But maybe not. It's not the concentration that would show up.
Yeah, so. Exactly. She may have brought it home.
Who knows?
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. But the wife is negative since Thursday, and none of the rest of us ever tested positive, or had any. I didn't have any symptoms. but my 8 days of solo dad are done. Was in the bedroom for 8.
Sounds like you had a good time though, from what you.
Oh yeah,
like you had to play and have a good time.
Yeah, I'm thankful for the extension to the COVID sick leave, so I could stay home and take care of my wife, and then my kid was out of school for 3 days, and just being safe to make sure we didn't bring it to any of her friends at school. So we hung out a lot, and it was back to lockdown times basically, and we had a lot of fun together. But it was me and her from morning till night.
Yep. So, and you're like, ooh, a little tired now.
A little tired. Lot. Yeah, so I'll talk about probably some of the things her and I did during the what have we been playing. But let's start with Nintendo. We'll start with the quick one first. The recent one, Smash World Tour, which is a big, a lot of tournament organizers and a whole organization basically doing Smash Brothers tournaments. They were having a big tournament. I believe it was this weekend, but it might be next weekend. And basically they were told by Nintendo that you're not going to get a license to do Smash Brothers tournaments. Okay, so we can't run the tournament this weekend. We're not telling you that you can't. We're not telling you to shut it down, but we're telling you that you can't run it without a license, and we're not going to give you one. So basically, they shut it down. They had to shut down. It was like they put out a statement this weekend, or earlier in the week. I mean, that they have to shut down people who are coming to be in the tournament. Like there's going to be no tournament, so you can't come, and we're not going to do it, and we're going to refund everyone's tickets, and they're basically out like $250,000. And when they said, Nintendo told us to shut down, Nintendo put out a statement saying, no, we didn't. We just, through our business negotiations, decided not to give them a license, but we never told them they had to shut it down this weekend because we know like the consequences of that in terms of, monetary consequences and such. And then Smash World Tour kind of clapped back and said, you said in writing that we could not have a license, that we could not run. You told us verbally on the phone that you weren't going to shut us down, but in writing you said that we had to shut down. So legally we have to follow what's in writing. And then through all of this, there's an organization called Panda that is the only one that has an official license from Nintendo to do Smash stuff. So in this whole brouhaha, Panda put out a statement too, talking about basically doing PR, because people started to blame Panda immediately because they're the ones who have the license, and they've been pushing other Smash organizations, tournament organizations out of the scene, and basically boxing everyone out and keep making sure they're the only ones that had a license. So the consequence of this is that as of today, last I read today, 85% of the Smash players who have signed up for Panda, and like that's who they do their, I don't know if they're sponsored by them, but they only do tournaments with Panda. They all resigned. Like, okay. Bye, we're out of here. So the Smash scene is in fucking shambles right now because Nintendo being dumb and just not allowing people to, play their games, and, whatever that brings. I feel like it brings in eyeballs and advertisements and, whatever, people playing or whatever. And then this other tournament scene kind of imploding as well, because everyone, Smash is such a small scene. Like if you piss them off, they're like, fuck you, we're not playing for you either. So yeah, the Smash scene this week has just imploded, and Nintendo's not helping.
No, so doesn't sound at all. It doesn't sound like that was handled well at all.
No, and these statements going back and forth are just like meaningless kind of PR spinning, but it just comes down to Nintendo, in my, just from my take at least, like Nintendo not recognizing how important these grassroots, I don't know, organizations.
I'm reading Nintendo's specific thing right here, what they said to them in writing. Yeah. It is Nintendo's expectation that an approved license be secured in order to operate any commercial activity featuring Nintendo IP. Yep. Check. That makes sense. It is also expected to secure such a license well in advance of any public announcement. After further review, we found that Smash World Tour has not met these expectations around health and safety guidelines and has not adhered to our internal partner guidelines. Nintendo will not be able to grant a license for Smash World Tour Championship 2022 or any Smash World Tour activity in 2023.
Right. So when you read that, you're like, well, then we have to shut down. Yeah. We can't run this. And then Nintendo's statement later is like, we didn't tell them they had to shut it down. Like, I don't know how you read that in any other way.
Yeah, it says in a second statement given to IGN on December 2nd, Nintendo claimed that when we notified the SWT that we would not license their 2022-2023 activities, we also let them know verbally that we were not requiring them to cancel the 2022 finals event. Doesn't matter what you say verbally, you wrote that thing saying like, hey, first line, we require a license to feature Nintendo IP. We're not giving you that license, so you can't feature Nintendo IP. Part of me wonders, like, reading that, is there other stuff going on behind the scenes?
Well, in the Smash scene, there is, because they're, in the past, I just think in terms of Nintendo wanting to keep a family-friendly atmosphere. That earlier in the year, the Smash scene was rocked by, like, basically, like, grooming. Like,
oh, yeah, I remember that.
Pedophile, basically, shit. So I understand that, like, wanting to make sure that you're licensing your shit to people who are not fucking
well,
pedophiles.
Yeah, and they're also making money off your IP. Like, Smash World Tour is using the Smash name in its title.
Right.
Like, you need to have that license. Like, that all makes sense to me. I'm just like, there has to be something more going on here. Like, I'm like, sure, it might be spin, but I'm like, okay, what are the expectations around health and safety that weren't being met? And what were the internal partner guidelines that weren't being met? And I can't see anything specifically talking on, like, well, what did Smash World Tour... Well, and also, is expected to secure a license well in advance of any public announcement.
Right. You can't say we're going to do it and have a license.
Which they probably did then? Well, Smash World Tour totally did.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Okay.
Because they were having it this weekend. It's a known quantity for a long time.
It's not been...
The Smash scene is basically that this other company is basically, this Panda organization is just trying to make sure they're the only ones that have a license.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, this, continues to be turmoil in the Smash scene. And I just thought it was interesting that Nintendo just, their statements, their series of statements are just like contradictory and like logically stupid. We told them verbally they didn't have to shut down. No, you told them in writing they actually had to. You didn't say you have to shut down. You said if you don't have these things, you can't operate, which is the same.
Part of me wonders if that is a left hand not talking to the right hand on that.
Maybe, yeah.
Where it's like, no, the lawyers gave them this written statement. Because lawyers would give a written statement of being like, here's what we're... And then whoever IGN talked to was not a lawyer and was like, who did they talk to? Did they say who they talked to?
I don't think so. But it's like, don't ask permission, ask forgiveness. Like, come on.
That's dumb. I'm just like, no, if you take the writing thing, and I'm sure the writing came from actual legal teams at Nintendo, not some person just talking to IGN or saying they could do it.
Exactly.
Like, no.
So, Nintendo, some problems there. Another problem. Yeah. Actually, a resolution. This was published in October, and we talked about this during the summer, and we just did this. The Smash Brothers Ultimate Tester, who was basically asked the question in the Nintendo meeting about unionization in gaming, and then was basically fired a few weeks after that. Mackenzie Clifton settled with Nintendo, or Nintendo settled with Mackenzie Clifton for about $26,000.
Yeah, just about.
But the thing that's cool is the NLRB, which is the National Labor Relations, where this dispute went through. They adjudicate basically labor issues. Like when we have labor issues, in the past they have gotten to that point, but if they got to the point again, we would go to the NLRB as well with our labor issues, and then they adjudicate. But it's basically like Nintendo. The article here on Kotaku says Nintendo, but really it's Aston Carter and Nintendo have to put notices around informing people about their rights to unionize, which I love. Yeah. Basically, just right in the workplace, the National Labor Relations Act gives you the right to form, join, or assist a union, choose a representative to bargain with us on your behalf, act together with other employees for your benefit and protection, choose not to engage in any of these protected activities. We will not interfere with, restrain, or coerce you in the exercise of the above rights. I feel like Activision Blizzard needs this fucking posted all over their shit too. But it's cool to see the culmination of that, which is basically like Nintendo getting their hands slapped. and Aston Carter getting their hands up. $25,000 is nothing to them, but this is a public, not only is it publicly embarrassing, but these are the rules of labor relations, and you have to fucking follow them. And here they are. You put them everywhere.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think it's good. Kind of interesting to me of how it all played out, honestly. In some ways, I'm like, not really a whole lot of drama with the settlement. Just, here's money from wages lost, and we'll put these notices up. Okay. For something that had been brewing for so long. Now it's just like, thumbs up. And then also Mackenzie Clifton was like, cool, yeah, that's fine.
Well, that's how it's supposed to be. Like, the only thing that sucks about this is this person doesn't have their job anymore.
Nope.
Like, that's the only other thing that like should have happened. Like, and you have to give her job back, but that's not part of this, as far as I can tell.
I mean, she may not wanted it back. Who knows?
Well, this is true.
Who knows what actually happened when they were crafting the settlement and what? Because at one point, Clifton, I saw this, had previously told Axios that part of their demand for settlement was that Bowser personally apologize, and don't think that's actually happened as far as we know. Maybe it did. We just will never know. But I have a feeling that was not part of the settlement.
No, just like me personally, in issues that we've had with our union, we've asked for that kind of stuff, and it usually gets kicked out.
Yeah,
it's not in the end, it's not really helpful. But you just want to ask it because you're like, you have to admit you did this thing that was wrong. Like, you need to apologize to that person, and that always gets kicked out. Just because you really want to focus on the actual resolution as opposed to like rubbing someone's face into it.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. So, just kind of, it was like, all right, and that's cool. And put notices go up saying that, well, not that Nintendo has to do anything, but Aston Carter will not be doing anything on the notices, which makes sense. They're the ones doing the hiring, and management of the testing.
And they're fucking up.
But maybe this leads to unionization at Nintendo testers or Aston Carter testers. Maybe.
It's a nice segue to unionization at Activision Blizzard Albany, which was Vicarious Visions, I believe. The QA folks there spent a year basically trying to get their folks, moving the support for unionization in their unit. And then they had the vote Friday, I guess. 14-0, they decided to unionize. They're the Albany Game Workers. Thing that's interesting, I highlighted in our Discord that Activision Blizzard was trying to stop the vote or whatever because 2 votes had come in late or whatever. And it's just like here it is. 3 ballots came in late due to mail delays, according to the announcement. Thanks, DeJoy. A union spokesperson said that the company refused to drop the challenge despite the 3 ballots not being a factor in the election outcome because it was 14-0.
Yeah.
But then Activision Blizzard wants because this is just the QA testers.
Exactly. And that's what it's been at the other.
Yes, exactly.
Raven, the testers at Raven as well.
So then Activision Blizzard's like, everyone there needs to have a chance to vote on this so they can like get all the other people who are not in QA and whatever to like vote against it. But that's not how this works. No. That's not how unionization works. You can have your fucking small unit be unionized. Like they're a separate unit from the rest of them. They can do that. Like, fuck off.
And I honestly think that's how, if unionization eventually takes hold in the game industry, it's gonna be stratified in ways like that. It's gonna look a lot more like Hollywood unions.
Right.
Like, it makes much more sense to be structured like that. That there would be a design guild, there would be artist guild, testing guild / unions, which honestly there's the above line and below line unions in Hollywood. Testing would probably be a below line union, but it would be I look at it and I'm like, yep, this is probably how things get structured here. We have discipline guilds and unions.
I think it makes logical sense. I don't see, like, in my profession or whatever, like the English teachers are unionized and the other ones are not. I guess you technically could do that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense because we're all kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
The same purpose. And in some ways you are as well in doing game design. You know better than I do, but it makes sense to do it the Hollywood way, where it's like this group unionizes. That one doesn't want to. Fine, you don't have to. But you don't have QA here unless you work with us.
Yeah, exactly. It's because I think the other way this goes is then it's just a smattering of lots of different unions at different companies, and some are unionized, some aren't. Very randomized, I would say, in a lot of ways.
I just don't.
Which seems, I wouldn't say problematic, but it seems harder to deal with a lot of ways, even for the unions themselves.
It is problematic, and it's not going to work that way. The way it's going to work is that these small little smatterings, and it's happening here too. These small little smatterings of people are going to unionize, and then they're going to come under the umbrella of the larger union, and then that's going to help them with the organization and the logistics.
Yeah,
because my union's part of CFT, and there's a different union in San Diego. I can't remember the fucking name of for other teachers. CTA maybe. So but they both do the same thing.
Yeah.
Your overarching umbrella that some of your dues goes to them, and they do larger things for the union and unionize people in general, along with lobbying or whatever. But so the more that we get, right, when you reach a critical mass, then that's going to happen more. I think.
Yeah. And I want to say that that's a win, not an if, but I don't know at this point. Tech is weird on all this. We've talked about it before. Like, there's not a huge drive in tech games being included in there for unionization. Let's be honest. There just isn't.
We're talking in the Discord with some of my friends who are in tech who was like, I can just get a job anywhere. It's like, yeah, but not everybody can. So there's, unionization is more important for some people than others for sure.
Sure.
But nationwide support for unionization and unions has not been higher than it is right now. So if it's going to happen, this might be the time. And if it doesn't happen now, maybe it never does.
Yeah.
I don't know. But just the abuses that are happening at some places, and just the corporate greed. I don't know. There are places like, I think the bigger the place, the more it makes sense, because you want protection against like an Elon Musk who comes in and buys everything.
Yep.
A union would have really helped a lot of those people at Twitter. But a place like yours, for example, like when everyone's like happy, things are going well, like there's not a huge, I don't like an immediate apparent reason for it. But then when shit gets rough, then you realize, oh shit, I wish we would have had that. Like what's happening on Twitter, and basically everyone who has who's on a visa who can't go anywhere. Working for this fuck.
Yeah. So I think you're right. Support is highest right now. I think the tech industry is seeing a lot of repercussions right now. We're hitting huge amounts of layoffs in tech at the moment. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't say it's .com levels, but there's going to be a downturn in tech for the moment, and it'll be interesting to see if anything comes from that, or if people tend to still feel like, oh yeah, I was laid off, but I still got a job within weeks someplace else. Exactly. Like, I don't have to. If there isn't anything, I would say, to your point, saying if everyone's happy, or if it feels like, well, I just get another job that's better immediately, then it's like tech won't have that drive, because it's no longer, they're like, it's not a problem. See, it just works, as the Discord talk and everything. Like, you just get a job. Like,
the one thing that's weird about that, and not just with people in our Discord, but just like writ large, even if that's true for everybody, like, I don't need a union to help me protect my job, because if I lose this one, I can get another one easily. But you lose the power that you've gained in your job, like with the people and the structures, like you don't carry that with you mostly, but also you might actually have to fucking move. Like, there's a lot of remote work, but there's also a lot of not remote work. Yeah. So it just feels disruptive, and it just, I don't know, it doesn't seem as positive as that sounds. I can always get a job, sure, but you gotta give up a lot of shit. Yeah. So I don't know, man.
I know. I will just say, tech is weird when it comes to that. Yeah. But might be changing a bit at the moment because of Mr. Musk and what he's doing and what Zuck's doing. So,
I mean, it's so public's the wrong word, but like, it's in our faces every fucking day. Like, wow. especially the Musk thing. Like,
it's not in my face anymore. Thank God.
Well, yes, okay. I don't mean.
I actually get mad now in our Discord when people post about him. I'm actually like, I don't want to know. I don't care anymore. Like, let idiots be idiots. And I'm like, seeing this man or hearing about what this man is doing makes my day worse.
Yeah.
And that's what Twitter actually became for me towards the end there. Once he took over for that couple weeks, I was just like, I don't like that at all. Go away.
So I feel on Mastodon when people like post tweets. I'm like, no, we don't want that here. Stop it. No, I get it. Maybe I can ban that word in our Discord.
That'd be funny. It's just nukes in it. No, sorry, that's a banned word. You can't say it here. No Twitters, no Musk.
Yep, no Twitter links, no Musk. Yeah, well, unionization. So things, these are some positive stories. Nintendo, get your shit figured out.
Yeah, and then hopefully, well, we'll see what happens with Activision, because theoretically in June they will be part of Microsoft. Even though there's talk of like, what was it? Fed gonna sue them basically, but I don't think it's gonna stop, honestly, because they're also like, here, Sony, we'll sign a written agreement that you get Call of Duty for 10 years.
You know what? And that's honestly with the brouhaha that Sony made about Call of Duty and just kind of like falling under sword, like, we suck, we need Call of Duty. Like, you made it all about Call of Duty. All Microsoft had to do was say, okay, you can have Call of Duty.
Yeah, we'll make a ton of money off selling it on your platform.
We'll sell it on PS5. Great. Okay, well, that was our only argument against us. Well, we've taken it away.
Yeah.
That never made sense. So.
Yep. So I have a feeling that's going to go through. I'll be honest.
Well, I would like that for a couple of reasons. Obviously, I want Kotick to be fucking gone, and I know it's not going to be as satisfying as I wish it would be.
Nope.
But Kotick's gone, and then 2, I can finally play Diablo 2 Resurrected. I saw it on sale this week. I was like, fuck, nope. Boy, do I want to though. I'm really holding to this.
Yeah.
You and I might be the only people in the plan.
Kind of. Yeah. Because, it will. Every time it goes on sale, I'm just like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that's likely the sale will go through before Diablo 4 is out.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because I think Diablo 4 is later in the fall.
God, I wouldn't even put it out next year. I wouldn't even put money on it being out next year, even though I know they're targeting next year.
I know there's a bunch of people playing in Friends and Family beta right now.
Yeah. Mm.
They can't talk about it, of course, but it sounds pretty well polished at this point.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Like, they're playing it, and they're like, yeah, things are missing here and there, but they can play a lot of the game. They can do the in-game as well.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
I do think a lot of it is cohesive at this point, and it's just a lot of playing and balancing and bug fixing, and So I think by fall next year is probably a likely candidate.
That's really exciting, because for sure this is going to go through. If this goes through, it will go through by then. If it doesn't go through, I guess I'm not playing it unless they fire Kotick. Wouldn't they fire Kotick if it doesn't go through?
I would think so, honestly, because oh boy.
Yep, losing out a lot of money there.
Yeah, or Kotick would just be like, I'm out, I'm done. Like,
that's fine. That's my one thing. I need him gone.
How old is he?
I don't know. 56. I'm gonna guess.
Close. We don't have an exact age. He's either 58 to 15. Well, it's end of this year, so he's 59 probably at this point.
That's pretty close.
I'm like, how many more years? Dude, you just want to retire, right? Like,
right? What the fuck? Yeah.
Like you have hundreds of millions of dollars. Why do you want to work? Just go off to your super yacht and do stuff.
Fuck off. Go hang up Bezos.
Yeah, pretty much. Just go do that.
He came from gaming though. Like he.
Oh yeah.
Cares about gaming, I think.
He does. He has been around a long time in games. Like, trying to look at his whole thing. Like, and he's been at Activision a long time. When does it say he became the CEO of Activision in 1991?
1991?
Kotick became CEO of Activision in February 1991.
Shit.
I mean, he's been in charge of this for a very long time.
Wow. That's probably why. It's hard to let that shit go. Let go of the power.
Yeah, and especially because, I mean, when did Activision... Oh, because Activision went almost bankrupt in 1990. Kotick and Brian Kelly, his partner Brian Kelly, bought 25% stake in the company. Mediagenic was what Activision... They had changed their name from Activision to Mediagenic, and then after they bought them, they changed the name back to Activision and restructured the company and refocused the company on video games. I wonder what the hell did Activision do before that?
Yeah, what were they doing? Yeah, because they had done... I mean, they were doing video games, but they must have, like, tried to diversify in some way that fucked them up.
Okay, Activision, founded 1979.
Made, like, Atari games.
Yeah. Atari hiring... made the decision to leave Atari. Yeah, it was founded by 4 people who worked at Atari.
Yeah, right.
They left and made Activision. And then they... no, they were initially named Computer Arts Inc., but feared the public would not understand or know how to say it. Levy suggested combining Active and Television to come up with Activision. So yeah, they've been around for a long time, and then the market crashed, and that killed them almost. And they changed their name in 88 to Mediagenic until 91, when Kotick and Kelly came back in and were like, no, you're going to change your name back to Activision and actually make video games.
Mediagenic is a terrible name.
Yeah, and actually probably choosing not to do as much on video games was probably... They wanted to be involved in software besides video games and do business applications.
Yeah.
As well as games. Well, all right then. Crazy. But yeah.
God, a long time.
He was CEO for an insane amount of time. Like, man, he was CEO through all the Activision MechWarrior games back in the day, like MechWarrior 2, all of those. Interstate 76, Battlezone, jeez.
That's why he's still there. I mean,
yeah, he's the legacy, and like he has a strong legacy at that company of very successful, growing Activision to be absolutely enormous.
Yeah, it's hard to take that away from him, but he's still an asshole.
Yeah, he really is. Well, you probably only do that by being an asshole. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone nice would be able to pull off this level of growth and acquisition and mergers.
I feel like that's
come out onto the positive side of things, because capitalism wouldn't allow that. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I feel like that's always like the narrative around those type of positions where you have to be ruthless and shit. But you don't have to like allow like a culture of sexual harassment.
That part's true. Exactly.
So I understand
talking about the success there, but it probably also doesn't make you a great person.
Yeah.
Overall, who's gonna like care about the culture of things? Culture doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, what matters is the bottom line about making money in the end. Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me he wouldn't be a person that would give a damn about that.
Yep.
Just like any of these very, very wealthy tech people. Why would they care? Yeah. They got money in the end, so whatever. Move on. Ugh. Crazy, but holy crap! I didn't realize he had really been there that long.
That's pretty great. Well, be gone soon.
Hopefully, I mean, like I said, he could easily go on an early retirement now. Yep. I mean, he could retire long ago. Also, I'm like, when all this culture stuff come out, why didn't you just retire? Like, leave.
Yeah.
I guess
it's about power, man.
It's about power. I bet it's personal. Like, he's looking at how long it's been.
Yeah.
Does he want to go out with this stain on his record like that? Like, there's a chip, like, even though it's on his watch, this happened, but it's like, he would never bow out while this is playing out. At all. Just, he wouldn't at that point. Spend all that time there, unless you're forced out, and clearly no one's going to force him out.
No, the board's friendly to him.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we just described why. Like, to take Activision from the fucking dirt to where it is now. I mean, it's a really successful company, whatever you say about him. So
yeah. Ugh.
And we are looking forward to Diablo 4. So we'll be, yes. I mean, I played that fucking, the demo back in 2019. And it was, flawless. It felt flawless, and it felt really well thought out. And that was, God, it's going to be 4 years after that this thing finally comes out.
It's true. And talking about other action RPGs and Diablo 4 taking things from other things, Lost Ark, I saw on Steam, threw it up, is doing a Lost Ark cross The Witcher.
What the fuck?
It's
oh my god, I got so excited.
It looks like it already happened in the Korean version last week, end of November, but it's coming to the US version in January, and it's like they have like skins so you can look like Ciri and Geralt.
Oh my god, you guys know how to get me back into a fucking game.
And
I bought Monster Hunter World just for the fucking Geralt shit. I realized that I couldn't get it immediately. I had to do a bunch of shit, and I was like, okay, I don't know how to do this. So I didn't do it. But what the fuck? Feast with Friends released.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just
wait, is that Spotlight?
I can send
because I'm looking at the Lost Ark Steam page.
Yeah, I don't know. It's news posted on Thursday, December 1st.
Oh shit, there it is. Lost Ark X The Witcher. Yeah, Thursday the 1st. Fuck. Well, you know,
I'm sure you have to do a bunch of crap to get Witcher things, but
god damn it. Just let me. Yeah, I mean that makes sense, right? We want to announce the event. Beautiful Island. Uncovering the mysteries will lead to encounters with iconic characters from The Witcher on an all-new island and in-event quests. New Witcher-themed cosmetics will be available in the store. Okay, so I can just give you money. Oh man, I'm pathetic.
There you go.
Fucking Dandelion, Triss.
Yep. Yen.
Yep.
And then yeah, Ciri and Geralt at the top. It's the crew.
Fucking great. And Witcher comes out in 10 days, dude.
Witcher it does. Witcher 3 in 10 days. And then, is it Christmas Day for
Blood
Christmas Origin?
Day. Yeah, Blood Origin. Christmas Day. Yep. Okay, well, I'm going to be playing Lost Ark next month.
There you go.
At least for a little bit. We'll see how it goes. At least this one I can just download it.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's cool news. So what have you been playing?
It hasn't changed last week. A lot of Marvel Snap and a lot of Darktide.
Nice.
Although probably more Marvel Snap than Darktide, but start with Darktide in the fact that it's definitely been a game where it's just like, oh, I'll just drop in and play a round or two. Not trying to like burn through the content. But since release happened, there's just been a lot of cool missions got added to the game. That was this week, wasn't it? This past week?
I thought that their full release was...
Yeah, it was on Wednesday, 30th.
Oh, 30th, okay.
Or 29th. I can't remember when. No, it was the 30th, I'm pretty sure. That's when, because the servers went down on the 29th and they came back up at 10 a.m. on the 30th. And so, yeah, you got full release, which had a number of new missions, a couple new zones. I mean, the art, God, the level design and art is incredible in this game. I also understand why people are having, like, performance issues running it, because holy crap is it detailed. Like, this is high-end, high poly, lots of shaders, lots of stuff going on. Like, you're going to have to, even without ray tracing on, you're going to need to run, like, DLSS or FSR to make it playable. It's very pretty. And they know, and they just went with it. So there's that. Yeah, it continues to be fun. Like, runs take anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes. Weapons feel really good. I've been getting different weapons, trying out different things, and they all are kind of unique. They overhauled some of the in-game UI and on the weapons themselves, so you have a much clearer idea of what weapons are doing and what stats mean, which is nice. That's good. It's good to know. It's good to know. And, like, you can actually see the damage values of weapons now, as opposed to just this little bar where you're like, well, is that good? I don't know. So that's been a fun activity. I do really enjoy the game quite a bit. I like 40K in general. I like 40K better when it has nothing to do with Space Marines, and this has no goddamn Space Marines in it whatsoever. It's just kind of a dark, grim setting. You basically play prisoners that are given a second chance of, like, prove yourself in exterminating all this chaos and crap going on in this giant hive city. So it's a lot of fun. The progression's a little smoother in the full game. I said before, When I first started, I was like, progression feels just slightly too slow. Well, they did. They increased it by 10%. How much XP you get on everything. Cool. So it's like, I'm like, oh, okay. I guess everyone felt it was a little slow. And so you have that, and you have crafting resources you could get now from doing missions. So like you're getting money to buy new equipment. You're getting crafting resources to upgrade the equipment that you like to make it better and get better perks. And so you can start building, like, wanting to get good weapon rolls on like the special perks that show up, because those can synergize with abilities you have and your feats, because each, I think by the end of it you get 5 feats through. You can pick 5 feats out of sets of 3. Every 5 levels you get a set of 3 you can choose from. You can respec it in time, so you can start making builds based on weapons and feats and weapons and items, because there's 3. You unlock curios as well, which are like, think of them as gear. You don't equip armor. You have visual style, and you can have cosmetics that change how you look, but you have 3 accessory slots, and a ranged weapon and a melee weapon, and try to fill those all up and make a build, basically.
And that's it. That's all the customization.
That's the gear customization. Yeah, that's the the stuff that gives you stats and special abilities.
Yeah.
Everything else is pure cosmetic on that. Which I think the reviews have gotten better now, because everyone loves cosmetic MTX, clearly.
I feel like a lot of negative reviews I read lately on a couple of games, including on Marvel Midnight Suns. It's like, what the fuck is this microtransaction shit in here?
Yeah, there's definitely been even pushback to things that are like purely cosmetic as well, of being like, none of this affects any gameplay whatsoever. It is just because you want it. You're like, I like how that looks. I will give you money for that. I don't want to give you money for that. Okay, game's still there. You're still playing the same game as everyone else.
Like I was just talking about buying stuff for the fucking Lost Ark.
Yeah.
At least that's a free game, but.
Yeah, and some people are like, okay, why are games that cost an upfront money also doing this? Because it's fucking expensive to make games.
Yeah.
And people expect games to have updates. We are long past the time where, I don't know. Let's talk about it this way. I see a lot of people talk about, well, why don't games just come out and then they're done, and they never get updated again? I'm like, because games that do that are a blip on the radar to the gaming public. I'll be honest.
And people bitch about dead game after like dead game. Like, what? It's just a single player fucking game. Like Marvel's Midnight Suns is a single player game. I don't need the cosmetics, but someone likes it.
Yeah,
and I know 2K likes it.
Yeah, 2K likes it. Well, Midnight Sun we can get to on that, but it's definitely a thing of being like, okay, let's say they just released Midnight Sun, never did another update for them. I would say in a month, that game would just be flat out dead. People would be just negative review bombing, going like, they're never going to update this. They're not adding anything to it. Why would I buy this? It's like, what do you want? You can never make everyone happy making games anymore in this way. Like,
well, I feel like there's so many pockets in the gaming, whatever, internet, that each pocket says something contradictory. So you're like, fuck, whatever. I'll just do what I want then.
Yeah, basically.
You can never make the whole group happy.
Not at all. And there are tons of people that just hate everything about microtransactions, even like updates and DLC. They're like, no, you could do a base game and then you could do like an expansion. I'm okay with that. But this like $5-10 DLCs coming out every few months, no, don't want that. That's dumb.
Then just don't buy it. Fuck off.
But I hear this constantly. Like, the one thing that makes me hate making games as gamers now a lot of times.
There's the full quote for the articles.
Because
someone's listening to this.
Yeah, because as you said, there's so many pockets, and it's just like, oh, and they're all so loud, and you're like, can you just play and enjoy what I'm making?
And then
just enjoy it, like, or not. I don't care.
Enjoy it, you have a lot of games in your backlog. Go play a different one and come back when you want to again. God.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how unbelievably frustrating that is.
Sometimes a designer at System Era, probably about a year before I started, they made an update to Astroneer, and they added a soil canister. So like whenever you're deforming the terrain, you get the dirt into a little canister on your tool or on your backpack, and you can use that stored dirt to craft other things or trade it for, you put it in the soil centrifuge to get you other resources. But his quote on that is being like, they showed it off for the first time, this whole new mechanic in the game of like collecting the soil, taking it to soil centrifuge, and being able to get resources that you're having a hard time finding. And someone was like, oh, cool, you're just giving us a garbage can for dirt.
What the fuck?
In their live stream, and he's like, God damn it. Like, seriously? Like, that's your takeaway from this?
Yep.
Like,
there's a reason why you're not on our development team.
Yeah, and I mean, that's where he's just like, yep, you can't make everyone happy, and there's always going to be someone being like, this is dumb. Why is this the update? Right. I'm like, oh, yeah. So, I see a lot of the MTX stuff now, constantly, of people, even when it's purely cosmetic, that people are just like, well, I don't want it anywhere in there. They should just be either making all this stuff and just giving it for free, because that's what a finished game is. Everything will just be there, and it's just all up front. Which I'm like, okay, if you want everything all up front, then games are going to take probably twice as long to make. Their budgets are going to be huge, and we're probably going to have to charge you $100 to $120 for a game per game to make it worthwhile for an return on investment. Because guess what? People need to get paid and actually do this, and companies need to exist. We still live in a capitalistic society where we need to provide for people to work on these things.
Wait, you need food?
I do need food. I do. I can't just make games for the goodness of my heart. Well, I could, but I'm pretty sure the risk there would drive most of my family away, and I will not do that for my kids either. So, So I hear that too. I'm just like, I think to me, this gets into a very kind of philosophical thing, that there's just a huge disconnect on the time and costs it takes to make modern games. That people playing them just do not understand. They do not grasp the total number of people and the total number of man hours it takes to make something that looks visually, what people deem visually good now, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. It is. I don't know if like the frustration is getting more like fragmented and nuanced, or there's just new like groups splintering, or like thought splintering. That's just like there's, I don't know, negative feedback coming from like so many new places, and it's just like, God damn it.
Yeah. Darktide's at mixed reviews right now. It's probably some technical issues. I want recent reviews.
Is Darktide, is it Unreal Engine 4?
Maybe. Actually, it probably is.
Because it's I'm wondering about. I'm surprised Midnight Sun is not in the top.
It was for a bit there.
Okay, I think Warhammer's number 3.
Well, actually, do you? No, I see it. It's probably because you own it.
Oh, because I own it. It's hidden. Oh, it's number 5.
Yeah, it's doing fine.
Yeah, I got it. It's hidden because I own it. I wanted to see the split. Mostly positive right now. I guess it's only all reviews right now.
Yeah.
Just because that's UE4.
It is.
And there's that whole shader issue.
Well, I've been reading it. It's specifically UE4 on DirectX 12. Okay. Because it's a DirectX 12 feature to do on the fly shader compilation.
Well, it sucks.
It does. Darktide, I don't know if Darktide is not, I believe, Unreal. I think it's a custom engine, potentially. But there's actually a thing, whenever you load up the game for the first time and after a patch, you sit there for a few minutes and it actually has a big bar filling saying compiling shaders. Oh, wow. So just as up front, I mean, that's the trade-off. But if you run games on like Unreal 11, not Unreal 11, DirectX 11, you don't get shader problems like that because it had to compile, like it recompiled all the shaders. Yeah. It's a thing with 12. It sucks. I don't tend to have it on my machine that has it. Like, I don't know where the bottleneck is, and I don't know.
Like if you have a high enough GPU or RAM or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where it happens. Like, because clearly there are pieces of hardware that make it faster. Right. I don't have a super high end GPU, but I do have a I have an RTX 2060 Super, so it's a couple generations ago at this point, but I don't tend to have the stuttering like that on games that I've played. But I know it exists. I've seen it plenty of times, and the solution would be for weirdly to do something, because you have to do something like Darktide is doing, because you have to compile the shaders for the GPU that's in the system. So that's why it works fine. Like, consoles don't have this problem typically, because the developers can ship the compiled shaders for the exact hardware.
Right.
That console, they know what it is exactly.
And yeah, exactly why the PC market's such a moving target. Well, and people are talking about how, reviewers at least are talking about how with Cyberpunk they only got PC codes and then the fucking consoles were shit.
Yeah.
Same thing with Midnight Suns. The reviewers got PC codes, but then the console versions that they're reviewing now are like, oh, these are way more stable. And exactly, for the reason you just mentioned, like the stuttering is pretty intense in Midnight Suns, and it makes me want to wait. I don't know if they're going to be able to patch that out.
I don't know.
Patch it up, but I think the issue that you've highlighted doesn't seem patchable.
Yeah, it's an engine-related thing. I'm just trying to see, like, does Midnight Suns allow you to select DX11?
Right, because that would be helpful.
But they may not have devved it for that. It might only be DX12, which a lot of games now are, is why you're seeing this more and more. Because DirectX 12 has been out for a while now. So yes, partially Unreal's problem, partially Microsoft's way of being like, no, this is how DirectX works now. It's obnoxious though. So someone might fix it eventually. I think the problem is, I think Epic is fixing it in Unreal Engine 5. They've actually listed out changes that they're doing. I just don't think those will come back for 4 ever.
Yeah.
So it's up to the devs to figure out their own solution.
Yep, that's what I've been reading about, is that it's not a problem in 5. It's like, well, I'm not playing 4.
We're not playing games on Unreal 5 yet.
But man, Midnight Suns, I guess maybe we'll pivot into what I've been playing a little bit. A lot of the negative I've read about Midnight Sun is simply that it's I think summed up like this: the characters just won't shut up. And I actually really like that. There's a review here on Steam that just says Fire Emblem Marvel Edition, which is somewhat accurate, I guess. I'm 5 hours in, and there has been a lot of running around the Abbey, talking to the characters, deep, long conversations. And then I've probably had like 5 or 4 battles. So in the 5 hours, I've spent 4 hours talking and 1 hour battling. And I think that's rubbing people the wrong way. I like it. I love the combat. I think it's great. I also really love the writing. It's Marvel, so it's very quippy. Iron Man is just funny, or thinks he's funny, and he says lots of jokes. And like everyone has a quip, and it's just very quippy. And for some reason, I like it. But the dev team did splash cards for when there's a new character comes up. And this is like spoilers to the beginning, but it's just going to kind of explain the humor of the game. Doctor Strange brings Iron Man to meet Ghost Rider, and Ghost Rider's like not having it, and he doesn't know who fucking Iron Man is. He's like, and Iron Man's like, you don't know who I am? And the guy's like, fucking Roboman, whatever. And then he leaves, and then they do a title card for Iron Man because he's the new character being introduced, and they do that for all the characters. It doesn't say Iron Man; it says fucking Roboman. And it's just like, I just laugh my ass off. I'm like, oh my god! And there's just like little things like that throughout the game. I really like the characters. I think that they have a lot of interesting things to say. The fucking combat is great, and I was so confused at the beginning because having played XCOM for a while. Not as much as you or anyone else that I know, but enough to know what Firaxis XCOM game is. I didn't really follow a lot of the pre-release stuff. I just knew that this game was coming out. So then I was looking for shots to miss, for the enemy's shots to miss. I was looking for a cover system. None of that exists.
Nope.
And it's better that it doesn't. Although,
well, I mean, it's a different type of game.
It is. Like, it's not XCOM at all.
Yeah, XCOM is all about, as a game, and all levels of XCOM is about mitigating disaster, because that's what it is. It's constant mitigation of disaster. and nothing is guaranteed in XCOM ever. And it's rolling with it, and that that creates a very different tension. That is a different feeling that does not mesh with superheroes at all. Like,
yeah, right, exactly.
Superheroes aren't the characters sitting there like scraping by, not being like,
yep.
And just like, oh shit, everything can just go sideways at any moment. That's not superheroes. That's not comics. That's not that at all. So it makes sense that of course they're going to get rid of all that. And I had followed some of the previews earlier where they specifically said, because people are like, well, is there any hit chances or anything before they were really showing him? They're like, no, because superheroes don't miss. Yeah. Like, that's not.
That's the best way to handle it. And I just, on top of that, like superheroes don't miss, so that'd be weird. Like Iron Man has a 98% chance to hit and he misses. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. But also the way that the card battling system works, like you pull random cards. So if you pull random cards and then your fucking shots are random, boy,
yeah,
I would have already put this game down. But as it is, the like Marvel superheroes combat is like so hyperbolic. It is just so over the top.
Yep.
And that's really represented here. Like you pull out play some cards that allow you to do abilities that let you build heroic points, and then you can use like super cards, and then those super cards like really just fucking wreck shop. But you don't always draw them. You don't always draw the ones you want. You can redraw sometimes, and then there are cards that you can use that are quick cards that if you use it, it just refunds your play points because you have a pool of how many cards you can play per round, and you don't have to do like, if I have a roster of 3 characters, I can attack with just this one character if I have the cards. Yeah. I don't need to split it up. And I heard on a podcast today that the devs like fucking love Slay the Spire. They're like, Slay the Spire is the best card game like ever made.
They're not wrong.
And they're just like, we just wanted, when we got to the card aspect, we're like, how can we make Slay the Spire this? How can we make this Slay the Spire basically? I've never played it, so I don't know, but I love it. The battling is so good because there's enough randomness that you're forced to try different things, and then that's fun. But then the environment, you can do a lot of things in the environment. There's a lot of locomotion to battle, a lot of things you can throw. I'm fucking shocked.
Yeah.
It was like the reviews came out, and I was like, okay, I was already interested, and I read the reviews. I'm like, God, this looks really good. And I started watching some streams and watching some videos. I was like, okay. And then because I'm playing Marvel Snap so much, I was like, I want more Marvel because I leveled up through level 50 of that fucking pass. I played a shit ton to get there. And just, oh my God, Snap is so
good. We'll get to that.
Yeah, there's a segue to
yeah. But I've been watching the main streamer I watch. He's been playing a lot of Midnight Suns, and I've probably watched 3 or 4 hours of it. Mm-hmm. And it's taking all my willpower not to buy this game. Like, because I mean, like, people downside, there's a lot of talking. I'm like, oh fuck, this is exactly like Fire Emblem 3 Houses meets like a Firaxis tactics game.
Yeah,
really. Like, and it's, or like the thing you posted, it's Persona 5 type interaction, because your social interactions with the characters and the time you choose to spend with them, you can't spend time with everybody. You just do not have that amount of time. But leveling up your friendship and your confidence in that way gets you better cards and abilities, and like it has direct correlation to the battles that you do. And I'll tell you, watching it, the battles get really hard or get pretty challenging. I think the streamer's playing it on the hardest difficulty they can at the moment, which isn't the highest.
Right.
Like, I don't know how, he wasn't even sure how he unlocked higher difficulties. There's like 3 difficulties that are locked. And he's like, how do I do those?
Well, at the beginning, I couldn't do anything higher than normal.
So he's up 1 higher than normal.
Okay.
And there's still more. He doesn't know how to get higher. But just watching, I'm like, okay, this is challenging. And as you said, the card combat seems really, really neat. It's very combo driven in so many ways. And it's like thinking through your turn and being like, okay, I play this card and then this card and this card with these either the same character or multiple characters, and like knocking enemies into other enemies to KO them. There is still some randomness here and there. I think he had magic. It's either magic or it was Ghost Rider could open up a pit to hell. You could basically put a pit on the ground, or you could try to knock enemies into the pit.
Oh my god!
They had a chance to fall in. It's like, depending on their health and how close they were, it was like gives you a different chance of knocking them in. But it was really funny. I was like, of course. So it's taking a lot of willpower for me not to buy this game. But I'm like, I just bought games. I do not need to buy this one.
I think eventually you will, though. I think
this
is like this is an Anthony game, man.
Oh, it is. I saw it and I'm like, oh god, this is totally me. Yeah. This type of game. It's the right type of tactics. Slay the Spire is now you mentioned reading that, I totally see where, from what I've seen, how the cards were built from that, the way they upgrade. Because your cards upgrade. I know that much. Like,
yeah, they do. You
will get better versions of those cards.
That's right. I already have. You go to the forge and
yeah,
whatever the fuck blade is that, and you up your cards.
Yeah. So I look at it, I'm like, yep, this is my type of game. We'll see how long I can hold out. My thought is if I can hold out until the week of the 19th. That's when I have the 19th for 2 weeks off. Mm-hmm. So it'd be a good time to have a new game to just play through that. Because I've heard the game's like 70 hours.
I heard 60, but yeah.
50 to 70, I guess, is where. And depending on how much you talk and do all of the talky parts, which I'm like, well, I'll do all of it.
That's the best part, so I'm going to do all of it. I really like it. It's fucking great.
And the Abbey looks really big overall.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's just going to be this little thing. And it's like, the streamer brought up the whole map and couldn't go to all the places, but I was like, oh, that's the map of the Abbey is really big. There's a lot of parts that you unlock, and it grows over time as you do it, as missions and places you can access at the Abbey. So, I don't know. It seems like a big game. It seems like my type of game, and you're right. It seems like a cool Marvel game. Like, it has a lot of fun with the characters, and it has some deep cuts characters.
It does. Like, I'm like, who are these? Are these people that they invented for the game? Nope.
No.
They're all people that existed.
No, I had to do research whenever this was originally announced, being like, okay, Midnight Suns, what is this? And it's like, oh, these are all characters. I don't know who they are, but they exist. So I did have one question for you from playing it. Are you playing male or female hunter?
Female.
You not getting Matt Mercer.
God, fuck. God
Matt Mercer's the male.
I forgot about that.
You could be hearing Matt Mercer's dulcet tones every time talking, and that's like how you get me to play a male version. I will get Matt Mercer to do the voice acting on it. Yeah, so Matt Mercer, I mean, this is the biggest role he's been in for a while. Because the hunter talks a lot.
A lot. Oh my god, do I restart and play as Matt Mercer?
Maybe. I don't know. But there you go. Now you can choose. And now we can segue into Marvel Snap, which we've both probably been playing way too much of.
I've played more of that this week than anything.
I mean, I still play. I've played more than every night now, mostly. I'll play a couple times during a day. Like, I do my big chunk at night, but usually a couple times during the day I'll throw down 3 to 5 games. It's not that long. Holy crap. It's so good. I'm having so much fun.
What level are you on the season pass?
Season pass?
Yeah.
I'm done with the season. Oh.
I know, but you can keep going past it, you
know? 63.
Okay, cool.
So not hugely. I mean, I finished the entire season pass. So every mission on the season pass I've finished.
Yep.
And so yeah, 63, which is fine there. I'm at collection rank 794.
God damn! I was just thinking, I'm like 1. Yeah. 20.
That makes sense.
Wow.
Yeah. I am well into pool 3, and I am playing people with lots of powerful cards, and I have some powerful cards. So, makes games interesting. Actually, pretty thought-provoking towards the last chunk of turns. I'm trying to think how I explain. The deck that I'm currently playing is a Death Wave deck. So there are 2 pool 3 cards. Shockingly, Death and Wave.
Right.
Death is a 9 cost, 12 power card, but says cost 1 less for each card each card destroyed this game by either player.
Oh wow.
So that's cool. And that's generally fine. I have some destroy stuff going on, like a small package of destroy things. I usually need to destroy 3 to 4 things, ideally, during a game if I can, if things are working out. And then I use Wave, which is a 3 cost, 3 power wave on reveal. Next turn, cards in both players' hands cost 4.
Like all cards cost 4.
All cards cost 4. Both sides. Death is a 9 cost card that now costs 4.
Right.
Then Death's thing triggers of reducing that cost by 1 for each card destroyed. So if I've destroyed 4 things in the game, when I play Wave and I have Death in my hand, Death becomes a 0/12. It's an archetype of playing, and usually by turn 4, I know if I'm going to actually be able to pull it off.
Right.
But it's a fun deck, and then the deck is full of some destruction stuff, and then just some other tech cards to help me win against other weird decks.
Do you have Carnage in that deck?
I do have Carnage in this deck.
That's a good one.
Carnage and Killmonger are my 2 kill cards. Killmonger, I think you'll get Killmonger at some point in what you're playing.
I don't have Killmonger.
But it's not a pool 3 card. It's, I think, pool 2. On reveal, destroy all 1 cost cards. So
Dang,
that can destroy
your side?
Both sides.
Oh wow. Fuck.
That's like an anti-zoo card.
Yeah.
But
goodbye, Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, I've used it, but I mean, especially if you're like, man, if I'm playing against a deck that's playing a lot of 1 cost things, trying to do that zoo thing, and I play Killmonger and I destroy like 7 things, my death might even just be free by turn 6 anyway without wave. It's a fun deck. I've been enjoying that one quite a bit. But yeah, it's the game's really good. It's a great card game. Just enough meat on it to not be overbearing. But still feel like you have to make some good decisions here and there. And it feels, I don't come away with any games where I'm like, damn, that game, I lost and I'm so upset that I lost. I haven't had that. I'm just like, yeah, I lost. Fine. Next. Let's go.
Lately I've been, for a long time, up until probably the last 15 or 20 games, like I was winning almost everything.
Yeah.
And then lately it's been like 50-50. And like when I've lost, I'm like, I lost because it was a gamble. Like, are they going to play here? And if they do play here, then I need to play there, or play here and get bonuses when they play. And it just came down to choosing the wrong spot.
Yep.
And it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt good. There was like so much tactics and strategy to it.
And I feel like as you play more, you learn the card pool, and so you can start predicting some of like, you see the deck archetypes. So you're like, oh, they played these cards for the first couple turns. And you're like, oh, they're probably playing this kind of deck. And you'll start learning that. And you're like, okay, I bet they're going to play this type of card. Like if they're playing a lot of 1 cost stuff, you're like, oh, they're probably playing Khazar deck.
Yeah, that's the one I've been playing lately, is the Kazoo
exactly
deck.
The zoo deck. And you're like, okay, I know what a zoo deck is. And where you are, there's not great ways to deal with it completely. You have things like Enchantress to turn off their Khazars and things like that. But eventually you get to pool 2 and you get like Killmonger, and you're like, well, that just wrecked zoo decks. Yep. Because I ran a zoo deck in pool 2 for a while, but it changed. It wasn't let me flood the board out early with 1 cost cards. It was basically I just didn't play anything until turn 6.
Oh, Jesus.
Like played big things, like a few big things on like turns 4, 5, and 6. And then turn 6, I just dumped all these 1-costers on and like Blue Marvel and Khazar and just flooded everything. But I could see what the other person was doing, so I could like counter what they were doing.
Right, and they don't know what you're doing, so...
Yeah, and I actually think that I figured out in the game, one of my things is, as you get higher up and you get more cards, it's more important to have surprising plays on turns like 5 and 6 than a slow build-up. Like, you holding back information from your opponent is really important in the game.
Absolutely. And the ones that I won, like, in ways that felt like just deeply satisfying, I was like, I'm not going to let them know what I'm doing. And when they don't know where I'm going, and they don't know what I'm going to do. Even though there's only 3 spaces, if I'm, like from the beginning building up like the left location or whatever, they know I'm trying to like own that location. And then when they start throwing cards against it, it's just like I'm wasting resources to try to hold something just by like 1 or 2 points.
Yeah.
Whereas if the games where I do hold back have been stronger for me. That's really great advice.
Yeah, I think, and it's been fun learning that, just being like, okay, let's go. But boy, I mean, you're not even at the point. I bet your shop, I don't think is until you get to like collection level like 500, you get collector's tokens at that point.
Oh yeah,
because I don't think you can buy anything from the store, right? Like I was able to like, of the cards I just mentioned, I bought Wave and Death with collector's tokens from the store.
I thought cards weren't buyable.
I should say they're not buyable with real. They have put a thing in the store. Once you hit collection level, I think it's 500, you will get 3,000 collector's tokens. Okay. And they will start. This is so when you hit pool 3, and pool 3 is huge. It's like 76 cards. Every 8 hours, they rotate a card in the store where you can spend collector's tokens to just get a card you want.
Mm-hmm.
If it's available. And if it's there and you don't have the collector's tokens, you can pin it and it will stay there until you buy it.
Is that a way to counteract that it's harder and harder to get?
Yes, cards. And it's harder in the big pool like that. It could be a long time before you see the card that you want randomly. So they're like, this is a way to let you get cards you might want as they come through. You cannot exchange any money for collector's token. The only way to get collector's tokens is to go up in collection rank, and you get them from opening chests on collection rank. As you get higher, you'll see that you stop again somewhere right around 500. It shifts so that there are no longer specific cards on the collection track. There are ashes, chests, basically. And every time you open a chest, you have a chance to get a card out of it.
Makes sense.
Or other currencies, boosters or credits for upgrading. So that's pool 3 is when you're doing that, and that can last a long time. So they put this implemented this way in so that you have, as time goes on, if you keep checking the store, you can get some of the key cards you might want for deck archetypes. It was very nice. It helped a lot for me of just being able to pick up a couple cards, and then whenever you get to collection level 500, they give you 3,000 to start, which is enough to buy 3 pool 3 cards. And now there's also pool 4 and 5, which are rarer and more expensive, which everyone will get. That's the thing with this game. Like, I talk about collecting cards, and it's like, there's no great way to just spend money and get cards. You can spend money and get credits. You can exchange for getting credits, which makes you go up in collection rank faster, but the only way to go up in collection rank is also to get boosters, and the only way to get boosters is just play the game.
Yep. It incentivizes you playing the game.
Yeah, it's just like, if you spend money on this, you still need to play the game. There's no spending money to skip playing the game. Right. Which is very different from mobile games, because most mobile games are like, no, you pay us money to get to skip through having to play this. Like, just get me the thing I want. And this game's like, no, you don't get
playing
to do
the
that.
game is the thing.
We need you playing the game. This is a multiplayer card game. You play the game.
Are there any like pool 5 or whatever? Are they on really C tier characters, or they're still big?
No, they're no. I think they're pretty big. Like pool 5 right now.
They've done a good job of putting in characters even in the early stages. They're like, who's that? That's been good.
Yeah, I'm trying to look. Let me look. At one point, I joined the site that lets me track my cards I've collected. Shows them all, and then gives me just a list of the cards, so I can especially in pool 3, because you're like, what cards do I not have? So 5. I mean, there's a few things I'm just like, I don't know. Bast. I don't know who the hell Bast is, but Galactus is in pool 5 now. Shuri, Super Skrull, Thanos, and Valkyrie are pool 5. Pool 4 is Absorbing Man, Agent Coulson, Tuma, a Helicarrier, Luke Cage.
Nice.
Luke Cage is a new deck archetype card that people, because it's 2/1 where ongoing your cards can't have their power reduced.
Oh shit!
Which opens up a number of other cards you can play that their negatives were your cards get negative stat reduction. But now if you have Luke Cage, it doesn't affect you, and so it combos really well. You have Maria Hill, Orca. I don't know who the hell Orca is. It's a giant killer whale.
Yeah,
She-Hulk. She-Hulk's really cool.
Yeah, I saw that card pop up.
Yeah,
someone used it against me.
And Titania.
Oh, nice. Titania's a card too.
Yeah. So they're getting there. I mean, they have a mix of known characters and not. I know the season pass starting tomorrow is Silver Surfer.
Oh, it's Silver Surfer? Interesting.
Yeah, it's a whole season about Silver Surfer. And Silver Surfer is a 3/0 that says give your other 3-cost cards plus 3 power.
Wow.
So it's like make decks of 3-cost cards.
Right. Like no one's gonna be playing shit until round 3.
Yeah. Well, it's on reveal your other 3-cost. So you don't want to play Surfer until end of game. You want a lot of other 3-cost cards out, and then turn 6 play another 3-cost and Surfer. Because it's cool. Like, but this is interesting. Like everything when you read the abilities, they're so simple, but they've done a really good job of making all the cards work well together.
The thing that keeps striking me is that they're simple, they're straightforward, but they're also complex the way they interact with each other. And they're all unique. Like, how did you make this many cards that like really do like function so differently?
Yeah. And you will find some later on that there's some repeat, which I would call cycles of cards. So there's a couple cards that are like, oh, this is the low energy version and a big energy version of the same effect. Mm-hmm. But it's rare, and I get why they do it. They're just like, okay, like how much does a person want to commit to this type of deck or this strategy? So I don't know. I have no clue how they've done this. I have no clue how this stuff's going to work out. They've said, the company that makes it, I can't remember the name, Second Dinner, I think. But they basically said Silver Surfer will be the new card that you can get this week if you get the new season pass. Will start. I probably will. Although I just I didn't buy the Black Panther season pass until this past week.
Oh, really?
I didn't need to. I wasn't going to play Black Panther. Like, it just wasn't fitting in the decks that I wanted to play. But I'm still going up. I unlocked all the free stuff. I hit level 50, and then I was like, all right, I'll buy the pass. And then I just got everything else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no reason. If you can buy it any time within the month
I didn't know
pass.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to buy it up front. You can buy it at any point in time. And so it was just, I usually wait until I'm like, oh yeah, this is worth it. Like, I played enough. I've gotten through a good chunk of it, so let me buy it and get my things. So Surfer will be this week, and they said that there's going to be new cards being released every week in December, like one card a week. So I'm curious what that's going to be. And for you, it's stuff that you won't see for a while.
Yeah, for your higher level cards.
Yeah, I mean, it's pools. I think so. Pool 2 doesn't even start until collection level 222. You're in pool 1 still. Yeah.
Everything is getting pulled right now. It's still pool 1. Wow.
Yeah, till collection level 214. That's where you'll have every pool 1 card, and then you'll go to pool 2 for almost to collection level 500.
It took me a long time to pull Angela, and by the time I pulled Angela, they had nerfed her a little bit.
I still play her in one of my decks. Nerfed or not, she's still a really good card.
Yeah, really good. It just knocked down her
power by 1. That's like all their balancing they just did. They knocked the powers down by 1, and that was just enough. She was probably just a little too good for a 2-cost card in the end. So now she's more in line with other ones. So, but yeah, there's a lot of pool 1 cards that still get used. I see them all the time. Carnage.
Yeah.
All the time. I'm using Carnage. Like, pool 1 cards are like deck staples, basically. Yeah. They're not going to fill out your deck, but there's just solid cards that are there that people will use probably through the entire game.
You can't have more than one of a card, right?
Nope. Yeah. Unless you've done some effect to get multiples.
Okay, got it.
Moon Girl is a great way to do it.
Yes. Oh my god, I played someone who had a deck that was like this. I think it was Lizard or who the fuck it is.
Devil Dinosaur.
That's it. Fucking Devil Dinosaur, man.
Yes, Devil Dinosaur.
Christ! Like they put out the Moon Girl and they doubled their hand. I was like, what the fuck is the point of that? And then the Devil Dinosaur was already out or whatever, and it, like grew exponentially. I was like, holy shit.
So what's even better on turn 4 is if your hand's set up right, you Moon Girl with a Devil Dinosaur in your hand, and you have 2 Devil Dinosaurs.
Oh my god!
And then on turns 5 and 6, you just go Devil Dinosaur on different locations. Oh,
Fucking
that was a mean that I played Devil Dinosaur for a good chunk of pool 1 and 2. Once I had Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, I was like, oh, I see the deck that I'm supposed to be making here. I don't know, fun
I was
game.
just like, that's such a weird.
It's a weird
skill for some, and like, oh no, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Devil Dinosaur, man.
There's a Moon Girl's great for a lot of times when you're like, I want 2 of the card in my hand.
Because it just, because I haven't used Moon Girl yet, so it just duplicates
your hand as much as it can. As much as it can. So it goes from left to right. As many cards would fill your hand, because you can never have more than 7 cards. Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen Moon Girl Black Panther decks, like where they just get multiple Black Panthers. Devil Dinosaur is a main one because it want a full hand. Yep. I don't know. There's a ton of so many use cool for synergies. That. Yeah.
Oh so God, that's great. Well, welcome to our Marvel Snap podcast.
Yeah, I guess so.
Again. The other thing I played this week, and I guess I played mobile games more than anything else, Pokemon Go, loaded it up finally, and we've probably captured like 80 Pokemon, and have gone to several gyms, drove around town looking for different gyms, going to different parts of town looking for different kinds of Pokemon, weather changed, different kinds of Pokemon. I guess the only thing I don't know is, because it's free to play, but obviously there's a store, I ran out of Pokeballs. And the only way that I could get more was to exchange the tokens I'd bought. If I'd, pay $20 to get stuff. Do you regenerate Pokeballs in that game?
No, you need to go to the. God, what's that? So there's gyms you can fight at. There's Pokemon you capture, and then there's other thing. Yeah, there's the Pokestops on the map.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you just go to those.
Oh.
And some of those will give you balls.
Oh, okay.
So you just try to reuse those as much as you can, because eventually, yeah, I remember Pokeballs were pretty tight at one point, and then I just started. Welcome to 6 years ago at this point.
When I was long ago.
Probably 2016 is when it came out. I remember I was up working on Capitol Hill in Seattle when it came out, and everyone was at the park next to the office I was working out of. Like, we're talking hundreds of people playing Pokemon Go. It was incredible. Wow. But the thing is that I would walk down to my to catch my water taxi from where I was, and it was probably like a 30 minute walk, and I would just have my phone out, and I would just be hitting all these Pokestops in Seattle as I was going, and just be completely full of things at that point.
My God, this thing came out in 2016. Jesus.
Yeah.
That feels long ago, but we started this podcast before that. Jeez.
It's true. But yeah, it's a thing, and it's really cool that you and your daughter are getting to play it, because I actually do think it's a pretty genius game for just really getting people to get out and move around and walk. And
dude, it's been like pulling teeth for a while to get her out. She likes to just play inside, and not screens, but like she's like we do just tons of stuff. But then it started off she wanted to go out. And then as we were out, she would see other things and want to do other things. And then slowly it was like, go out to do Pokemon for a little bit, and we do the other things more. We've been out every day
nice.
For like a week straight now. It's been awesome. So it's been good exercise. But then today we went to a gym that was pretty far away, and it was fun. And it was Charizard and Mankey, and we had our team. And then we left one of our people to like help protect that gym. And it's been really fucking rad. We bought some little toys that she's been enjoying playing with too. She didn't really like the anime. Like, we tried watching a couple different Pokemon shows on Netflix, and she's like, "This."
My kids didn't really like it either. Yeah. They watched a little bit of it and were like, "Nah."
It's pretty slow.
Yeah.
And not super engaging. She's like, "Nah." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. We don't need to watch this." Yeah, man. Like, and we were playing Arceus as well, which is what started this whole thing. Yeah, just having a really good time. The Pokeball thing was my only issue. I'm like, sometimes she throws like 12 at one Pokemon.
That's probably the problem. I'll be honest.
It is. For sure. But it's just she doesn't take direction very well right now. But she's getting better at it. So
nice. That's cool though. I'm glad you're both enjoying it. It's something to get you out and doing and just
finally on the Pokemon Go train. I'm just fucking 6 years late. Holy shit.
Yeah, but it's probably a better experience now. I'll be honest. They had some growing pains. I'll say that.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how I feel about two games I'm playing right now: Marvel Suns or Midnight Suns. I'm hoping that the frame thing gets better, which we talked about. Maybe it won't. But also God of War Ragnarok. There's one aspect of it that you probably heard people talk about or seen if you've watched streams, where when you're solving a puzzle, your companion basically solves it for you in 20 seconds, and I can't fucking stand it. And I'm like, there's enough people bitching about this. Maybe they'll tame this. So I'm gonna wait to progress in that game because I like the puzzles. I think they're fun. There's so many micro puzzles in the game, and shut the fuck up, Atreus. I know it's a puzzle. I know. Give me some fucking time to figure this out.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Yeah. Wow. Pokemon Go.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Right. This many years of the podcast, so I fucking loaded it up finally.
I stopped really. I was consistently playing. I stopped playing it when I started working really from home in like 2018. Because guess what? There's nothing to do with it around my house.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I'm in the middle of nowhere, and guess where that game falls down? At least it did back then. When you're in the middle of nowhere, there's no Pokestops around me. There are no Pokemon spawning around me. Yeah. Like, I'd have to go into town about 5-10 minutes away, or a 45-minute walk. And that's not happening. So it just stopped. I was like, okay, it's a cool game, but really love it for you to solve, like, us people who live, I guess, what you would consider in the sticks, even though I'm not that far from Seattle. I just happen to be separated by some water that I have to take boats to get to and from.
Pokemon can't cross the water. They're like,
I guess not. Right. I was like, but I realized that's why I stopped. It was just like, but maybe they fixed that now a little bit, where they've found some way to make it more enjoyable if you don't go anywhere. I mean, they had to, right? Everyone was inside. They couldn't go anywhere.
Well, and the thing that they've still kept is that you don't have to be like as close to the Pokemon as you used to. So we've had some distance and to get.
Okay, I mean, they had to do something. Like,
yeah,
people weren't going out, and this game kind of requires people to be out and like going around. So, very cool though.
It is super cool. Yeah. So a good week of gaming. Family's all healthy. Hopefully, we'll continue to stay healthy.
Nice.
And yeah, I guess. Yeah, this week playing some more Midnight Suns and then getting ready for Witcher next week.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to play that in, or at least try. Probably not get through White Orchard again, let's be honest.
Oh my god, just get through as quick as possible.
I can't. I still have to do all the things.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All right, well, this is episode 363 of Prof and Dev Play Games. Thanks for sticking with us. Wow, this was a long one.
It was.
Next week, we're talking about the Game Awards, what happened. And, hey, Steam is giving away fucking 1 Steam Deck per minute if you watch the Game Awards through their portal, which is like steam.tv or some shit.
Yeah.
Logged into your Steam account. So I will do that just for the fuck of it.
I'm not going to buy a Steam Deck, but if they give me one, sure.
If they give me one, I will take a Gen 1 Steam Deck. Otherwise, I'm waiting for Gen 2.
Exactly.
It's way better odds than playing the lotto, and we're still not going to get one. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, folks, rate us on your podcast service of choice, and we will be back next week with Game Awards stuff.
Yeah, sounds good. Later, everyone.